The Varathian general stood behind 3 meters of reinforced durasteel, his 4 eyes gleaming with contempt through the observation window. The gate before him had withstood plasma cannons, molecular disruptors, and the full might of 6 conquered species. It would not yield to these soft pink creatures who called themselves humans. "You'll never breach the gate," General Krathsix announced through the comm system, his translator rendering his clicks and hisses into flat, emotionless words. "Surrender now, and perhaps the Varathian Empire will grant you a swift end." On the other side of that impossible barrier, Lieutenant Kaylee Morrison wiped the blood from her split lip and laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. "Hey, Owen," she called to her combat engineer, who was crouched behind a pile of rubble, his tablet displaying the gate's specifications. "What's the tonnage rating on this thing again?" Owen Rodriguez looked up from his screen, his dark eyes calculating. 16,000 metric tons of force resistance. "Kaylee, we don't have anything that can—" "That's not what I asked." She rolled her shoulders, joints popping after 3 days of continuous combat. "I asked what the rating is." The rest of their unit, what remained of it, watched from their defensive positions. 12 humans against a fortress that had never fallen. The Varathian invasion force had made one critical mistake. They'd assumed humanity's deadliest weapon was technology. "Kaylee, no." Owen stood up, recognizing the look in her eyes. He'd seen it before, back on Proxima Station when she'd decided the only way through a jammed airlock was through sheer determination and a running start. "Your exosuit can amplify your strength by a factor of 50, sure, but the math doesn't—" "Math." Kaylee checked her suit's power cells. 93%. More than enough. "You know what I love about math, Owen? It's based on assumptions, and the Varathians assumed we'd play by their rules." She walked toward the gate with the steady gait of someone who'd already made their decision. Behind her, Private Chen whispered a prayer. Corporal Washington just shook her head, a grim smile on her face. General Krathsix watched the human approach his impregnable barrier. "Foolish," he muttered in his native tongue. "This is why they will fall easily." Kaylee stopped 3 meters back from the gate. She could feel her heart hammering. Good, she needed the adrenaline. The exosuit hummed against her skin, its servos and hydraulics ready to multiply every ounce of force her body could generate. "Owen," she said softly into the comm, "remember basic training? What did Sergeant Williams say about human evolution?" Owen's voice came back, understanding dawning. "We're persistence hunters. We're not the strongest or the fastest, but we don't know when to quit." Close. Kaylee bent her knees, setting her stance. "We're survivors, and survivors don't need permission from physics." She thought about Earth, 3 systems away, where her niece was probably sleeping under a sky that didn't know the shadow of Varathian warships. She thought about the colonies that had already fallen, the billions counting on the fleet to hold the line. She thought about every human who'd ever been told something was impossible and decided to try anyway. Then Kaylee Morrison ran. Her boots hammered the deck plating. The exosuit systems screamed warnings as she pushed them past recommended limits. 20 meters. 15. 10. She could see her reflection in the polished durasteel, a bloodied, determined woman who'd decided that impossible was just another word for hasn't been done yet. At 5 meters, she jumped. At 3 meters, she chambered her kick. At impact, she released every joule of kinetic energy her body and suit could generate, focused through the reinforced boot of her right leg into a surface area of approximately 50 square centimeters. The sound was catastrophic. Metal shrieked. Durasteel, designed to withstand orbital bombardment, discovered what happened when human stubbornness met human engineering. The gate didn't dent. It didn't buckle. It ripped free from its hinges and crashed inward like the universe's angriest door. Kaylee landed in a roll, her suit systems flashing red, her leg feeling like someone had driven a spike through her femur, but she was through. And more importantly, the gate was open. "Move." Owen's voice cut through the shock. The remaining unit poured through the breach, weapons firing, as Varathian soldiers scrambled to respond to something that shouldn't have been possible. General Krathsix stared at his security monitors, all 4 eyes wide with disbelief. "How?" he whispered. Owen, following Kaylee through the ruined gateway, happened to glance at the observation window. He couldn't resist smiling as he tapped his comm to the enemy frequency. "You asked how? We're human, General. We kicked our way out of caves with sticks and fire. We crossed oceans on wooden boats. We split the atom and touched the stars. He looked at Kaylee, who was back on her feet despite the pain, despite the odds, leading their assault into the fortress heart. And we really don't like being told what we can't do. The fortress fell within the hour. The Varathian Empire would later classify the incident as a statistical anomaly, an engineering failure. Anything but the truth. But every species who heard the story understood what it really meant. Humanity didn't breach the impossible gate in spite of the odds. They did it because someone told them they couldn't.